Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Romans 8 and 28. And come on, he works all things together for the good of those who love God. Romans 8 and 28. Someone put it up. Good morning, y'all. I've been getting it in this morning, making my mind up, making decisions. I was thinking about it before we go into this on this morning. Shout out to everybody who's connected on the YouTube page. Shout out to everybody who knows me as PC, to my Right Direction family. Shout out to my of course, my team, my fam too. Listen real quick before we go into this. He came through dripping live. It is before 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in good old South Carolina. And I want to be transparent today. I want to tell you some things that I'm struggling with when it comes to where God has me for the past 13 weeks. I'm in week 13 right now, so I didn't realize what God was doing. But I've been reading the book. I read a book called A 12-Week Year. I learned about it in Marketplace. Shout out to my Kingdom Business Network crew and family that I co-founded. Uh, and even though I transitioned out of marketplace ministry to focus more on my church and local call, I would say I learned a lot from rocking with those entrepreneurs. And one thing I learned is, they are like go, 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 go. And as a pastorpreneur, my life is completely different. So shout out to all those in entrepreneurship who you got to go speed, move fast. And I get it, money moves fast, all that type of stuff. But you know, accepting my purpose. Don't worry, it's gonna go with our thought today if we came through dripping live. But one things I recognize my purpose is that, in ministry, it takes money just to reach more people. I learned from my father, Bishop Bailey. And in business, it takes people to go get more money. So my foundational work is ministry as a pastor, right? Being a youth pastor, and I like saying this, it sounds pretty cool for me. Being a youth pastor for close to 13 years, and for the past 2 years being an assistant pastor operating in more of a care, teaching, undergirding capacity with my folks in ministry. One thing I realize is that I come from the perspective of a blend to a certain degree, but really more, I just need some more money to reach more people. So I have more of a ministry concept and calling and pull. So shout out to those of y'all who are in business. My prayer is that you operate and that you win and that you go after everything. You can be faith based and be an entrepreneur and all that type of stuff. My prayers are for you. Do what you're called to do. I'm gonna do what I'm called to do. Now, doesn't mean that I'm devaluing business or marketplace. I do have things myself. I have a 30-day devotional, which is what the concept of these lives are for. He came through Dripping Live. I have a 30-day devotional. We're gonna highlight some of those things. And then also I got some things that I do to reach more people. I got a Faith Fam Circle group on Facebook. It's a Facebook group that a lot of y'all connect with me online from the Faith on the Friday days. And then I also have, of course, to keep the Faith brand. I'm not wearing it this morning in my workout, but I have to keep the Faith brand hoodies. And I'm trying to get my crew and my designer to get y'all the He Came Through Dripping uh t-shirts because it's getting hot over here. All right. So we want to make sure we get those t-shirts to you. But anyway, Romans 8 and 28. So today's subject is that. So I'll give you a little bit about myself, but today's subject comes from Romans 8 and 28. And it's what it says. Paul's writing to the Romans, the Roman church, and it says, and we know, and we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God. Now, what really blesses me about this, and I highlighted this a lot with people I know, it doesn't say it works together for the good of those who keep the law. It doesn't say all things work together for the good of those who do everything right, not justifying a ratchet, ruthless lifestyle. But it doesn't say, and we know that all things work together for the good of those who are fasting and praying every day. No, simply loving God. And so on this, he came through Dripping Live on a Monday on on April 7th. After me spending about an hour, 15 minutes in here since 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Lord was like, you got to go live with the people before you hop in your truck and get back going and get these kids to school. So I came on here to tell you that God's going to work something in for you. And so I know sometimes it can be challenging, wondering, like, how is all this going to work out? Like, where's my life going? Like, how am I going to get from here to there? But I came on here to encourage you that all you have to do is get back to that first love. For some of you all, you've been in love before, you've been in love with people, you got a relationship, but have any of you all said to yourself, like, I got to get back to the creator? I got to get back to the Lord. And some of you all believers, you come from family members who are Christians. You come from a family that might be praying. You might have folks who are in the church. And a lot of times what happens is you get caught up with, well, I'm not religious. It's about relationship and I get all that, or I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But I need to know if there's anybody right now who's made a mindset. Good morning, John. Who made a mindset to say, you know what? I got to get back to just loving the Lord. I got to get back to trusting the Lord with all my heart and lean not to my own understanding. I need to get back to Jeremiah 29:11. For I have plans for you, not plans of destruction, but to give you a good purpose. And one translation says an intended purpose. And so some of you all have to allow God to work things in your life. We're trying to figure everything out ourselves. We're trying to make our mind up. We're trying to like control everything. We're trying to figure out like how all this is going to work out. But God is saying to somebody right now that you got to make your mind up that you know what? He's going to work everything in. The Lord's going to work everything in. And I got about one more workout to do, and I'm not going to give up on it. But say, man, look on this YouTube page, Romans 8:28. He came through dripping line, and we know that He works all things together for the good of those who love God. You know, later on in that passage, I think 28 to 31. Read it for your homework. It says, "And those He called, predestined, He also called, and those He called, He also justified, and those He justified." He also ends up glorifying. And the point is that all these things that look good about serving the Lord starts with people who God has already picked before you could unpick yourself. And some of you all are living in guilt and you're living in shame, and you're living in condemnation. And you're living down and you're feeling bad about the habits that you have. You're feeling bad about your lack of discipline. You're feeling bad about your addictions. You're feeling bad about your temptations. You're feeling bad about your iniquities. And let me tell you something real quick. Some of you all don't understand this. A lot of the stuff you're dealing with has nothing to do with you. Like you might be doing it, but it's in your bloodline. That's why you need Jesus. Let me just talk to somebody. I feel the presence of God right now. Some of us don't understand. We don't understand that a lot of us, we're like, well, we make everything one generational. The reason why you need a savior, the reason why you need the blood, the reason why you need the firstborn son, fully God, fully man, and to set them in your heart and believe in your heart and open your mouth and decree and declare that you want Jesus to be your Lord and Savior. The reason why you need this is because you're dealing with iniquities. You know what iniquities means? That means even if you did everything perfect, your great great grandparent, your grandma, there's somebody in your family who lived a ratchet, ruthless life. Who did not have Jesus. And because of that, inside your blood is a sinful nature. Is a sinful nature. So I don't care how perfect you are. I don't care how disciplined you are. You have something in your bloodline that can cause you to venture off. And so we need to tell that to somebody. Romans 8:28. And we know that all things work together for the good of those who love God. And those He predestined, He also called. And those He called, He also justified. And those He justified, He also glorified. I think I'm missing one more five or some type of "ide" in there. But the point is, some of you all need to just make your mind up, man. Allow God to work it in. 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 Stop trying to figure out how it's gonna work out. Allow God to work it in. Woo. Stop trying to worry about when it's gonna happen. Allow God to what? Work it in. We gotta allow God to work in what we're trying to work out. You can't figure it life on your own, but you can allow God to take his principles, his truths, and help you figure it out on the inside. Yo, be blessed. He came through Dripping Live. Y'all share this with somebody. Comment below where you're watching from. Just finished my workout. Hopefully, I'll join you here tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Let me tell you what I need the Lord to help me out with is consistency. I got vision, I got goals, I have discipline, but my problem is consistency. But I have been surrounding myself around accountability, and I realized, listen, growth don't happen in the light. Growth happens in darkness. And a lot of us, we get so excited and so motivated when to grow in the light, and that's the problem. We grow in the light, and then it opens you up to premature attack, and you're wondering why you can't put one foot in front of the next. Is because you announce the new thing you're working on. And what we got to start doing is being disciplined in private, especially for those of y'all who believers. Get focused and get that mindset ready to go after the promise of God that God has for you. Keep the faith. Peace.